Elliot Turner, the project.
Project.
We dropped the didn't we?
We got rid of the went.
Why did the go?
I don't know. It just felt like every time I wrote it, it just didn't feel right.
Yeah.
At the start, went more when it was presented to people. With the capital letter project.
Yeah. See, I'm passionate. The only reason I ask about that is because people refer to us as the Defiant Co all the time, and when they drop
you're not happy
it pisses me off because I'm like, that's not the name. So
we're opposite then.
Yeah, we are.
So I don't like the. Maybe I dropped the Defiant Co. Maybe I dropped the Defiant.
So obviously we might have 3 or 4 people that actually watch this.
Yeah.
So you're the coach and owner, head coach and owner of Project.
Yeah.
A gym that I've attended.
You can say the project
because it's the project.
It is the project, but it's just not in the title.
I feel like we could go back and forth on this all the way through. But yeah, I'm a member at Project. It's where I'd probably say I started to understand what fitness actually was. So like, what was your journey to fitness? Let's start there and say, what brought you into fitness and got you that passion to end up where we are today?
Well, probably my dad. That's probably the biggest one, because as a kid, my dad always used to teach fitness classes, and I always used some evenings I'd have to go with him. Not necessarily sit in the room while he was doing it, but I'd have to be in the sports centre while he was delivering, like sat in the cafe or whatever. So that kind of got the taste buds going, I guess. And then I obviously played a load of sport, rugby, cricket, golf, all kinds of things. I'd kind of play anything really. And then when I got to 16, I started going to some fitness classes, and I coached my first ever fitness class at 16, which was a spinning class, which I know bit of a taboo, like, but yeah, it was a spinning class. It was 16 years ago now, but yeah, first ever class that I delivered was 16, and then it kind of just snowballed from there. I did a bit of spinning, ran a big circuit class at the sports centre as well that had like 84 people in it. I started running that when I was like 18. And then kind of one thing led to another, fell onto kind of doing a bit of CrossFit in 2014, just came across it online. I don't know how I came across it really, I was just on YouTube. I remember the 2014 CrossFit Games came up, and it was actually the workout Thick and Quick, so it was the final of the 2014 CrossFit Games. Watching Rich Froning do that, it was rope climbs on a thick rope and then heavy overhead squats into double grace. And I remember watching that, and I was on holiday actually. I remember watching it thinking, I don't want to have a go at that. I want to go and have a go at that. That's cool. He looks like a.
Is that when Rich kept falling off at rope?
No. That was way back. That was like 20. Was that 2010?
Was it?
Yeah, that was a long time ago. Yeah. No, 2014. The last year he won it. So I think it was like 3 rope climbs, and then it was like 5 or 10 overhead squats. Can't remember, but it was dead heavy on the overhead squat into double grace. I remember watching that and thinking, I want to be that guy. He's my kind of guy. And then I came back off holiday, found CrossFit, faffed around a little bit at like a commercial gym with it.
What was the first CrossFit gym you went to?
CrossFit 252 in Chesterfield. Yeah. So I went there, did an induction there. I remember my first session I ever did there actually. It was a 2-parter, and it was grace, funnily enough. The first part was grace. Yeah. The first part, just grace on its own, just single grace. And I remember pretty much reverse bicep curling and strict pressing 30 clean and jerks for time. And I remember doing it in the class and finishing pretty much last. Not that matters, but I remember finishing pretty much last. And then there was a 10-minute break, and then we did a 500-meter row for time. And I remember being like so wound up about coming last on the grace part that I was like, no one is going to beat me at this 500-meter row. I remember pulling the handle out of it for like, I don't know, 1 minute and 25 seconds and falling off the rower. And then just, since then, snowballed kind of thing.
I think that
to opening the gym.
That I say to you, we argue about it. I know you think 2K row, I think 500-meter row. I'm scared. I will never do that again.
There's a couple of things that give me anxiety, and rowing 2K is one of them.
Yeah, I'm more 500-meter. I remember, I think last time I did it, we were at Queen's Park, which is one of the classes that you used to run. 360 it was called. Yeah. And I did that 500-meter row then. And I've never done one ever since you've even opened gym. I've never done one at gym.
Never done it since.
Well, that takes us nicely onto, so my first exposure to you and Fletch, your wife and co-owner, was the 360 classes. So what was the journey sort of from putting them classes on to opening Project 1.0 as it was?
Yeah, so the first gym. So that was that. When would that be?
18?
Nah, we opened in
Oh,
2017.
yeah.
So it must be 2015, 2016.
Yeah,
Must be.
yeah.
So obviously I was doing the spinning, doing the circuits, wanted to start like delivering a bit of CrossFit, strength conditioning kind of thing in a commercial gym space. They had like a small rig in the corner. So I went to the people that were running the sports centre and said, look, I want to do this class. It'll be limited numbers, 8 people in the gym setting. Can I do it? And they were like, yeah, you can do it. So I ended up doing it 3 times a week. I think it was like a 6:30 a.m. start on it, like for an hour, but dead small group, like small group personal training effectively.
Yeah.
No barbell, all dumbbells, kettlebells, stuff like that, rowing, burpees, just basic fitness really. And then from there, obviously that was probably, we did that for a couple of years. Did our own classes as well, dotted around. We hired a few sports halls in like local schools, took equipment in, delivered similar kind of circuit style sessions. And then we opened the gym in October 2017. We'd looked around for a unit for probably 12 months, struggled to find one that we could have, struggled to find one that was big enough. And then we just got to the point where we came across this unit, we could have it. Probably wasn't big enough, but we were just at that point, like almost not end of your tether, but we were just like, oh,
let's get going.
Let's screw it. Let's just make it work. Like even if it doesn't work.
What is it? Is that there's that problem, isn't there? What is it like? You need a building with certain licenses,
like planning permission.
And it's like, it's just crazy to me, that kind of shit, that like the council is so tight on people trying to put something in place that's going to better the community. I find it's just like, if you're opening a burger shop or a chippy, crack on, mate. You want a gym? Oh no, you're going to have to jump through these hoops.
I think it's the leisure bracket that it falls under. There's the problem, like, because like a gym, a casino, all those kind of things fall under one umbrella. So if they set the precedent of changing the planning permission on an industrial estate for a gym, they then struggle if anyone comes and says, "Oh, I want to open a casino on an industrial estate."
Imagine putting them two things.
But they then struggle to turn around and say no. So that's where which is fair, I guess. So that's where the difficulty is. So 2017, found this unit, could open up in it, probably a bit small, but we're just like, oh, you know what? We'll make the space work best we can, and hopefully we'll drop on something kind of further down the line.
It did though, didn't it? Because you know, like when we did classes there, it never felt small. Until you moved to next year. Like, how the fuck did we do that?
How did we do that in there? But
crazy.
We just did way more partner stuff, like team workouts. Obviously, we had the yard outside that we used. I mean, just for context, the gym was what, 850 square foot.
Yeah.
So it was like a school classroom. Like it was tiny. It had a little toilet in the corner, a bit of a desk, and that was it. And we'd sometimes, like, particularly, I always think on a bank holiday, like on a bank holiday Monday or like a Good Friday or whatever, we'd only be open in the morning for like 2 or 3 classes. And we'd have like 30 people in a class. Yeah. I was like, going back to that you just said there, like scratching your head going, where did we put people? Like, where did those people go? Yeah. Like, we just did loads of running outside.
When you used to have in-house comps and that, it was rammed, wasn't it? And it always worked.
Yeah, but I guess it's one of them, you look back now and you think, like, not naivety, but it is a little bit of that. Do you know what I mean? Because I'd never dream of trying to do that now.
Yeah.
But I think when you're in that position and you're playing with the cards you've got, your back's against the wall, you just do what you can to make the best of the situation you're in, I suppose.
So before we fast forward, I guess, to where we are now, or where you are now, I guess what I'd like to ask is, back then, it had its frustrations for you, not being the space you wanted, not being everything that you wanted it to be from day one.
Yeah.
But you know, if you could go back now and automatically be in the gym you're in now, or go on that journey from that small gym that you had to make work to now, do you think that journey made you maybe a better coach, a better gym owner, a better person for having to go through that in such a way, as opposed to have everything you wanted from the offset?
I think it just gives you, like, going from working in a commercial, like, sports centre style gym where you're restricted on perhaps what you can do, to then taking your own kit into like schools, stuff like that, the faff around of loading it into the car, unloading it, then trying to operate for probably what we were there, probably 1.5 years, 2 years, in a space that was less than ideal, probably a bit too small, and we had a decent following at that time as well. It just gives you a bit of, like, in the position we're in now, it just gives you a bit of perspective sometimes. When you think, like when you think you're having a bad day, Like sometimes it gives you a perspective to look back and go, actually, we're doing all right.
Yeah.
Like we're doing a decent job, kind of thing.
Do you know how many members that start? Do you know that from when you opened Project 1.0 to now? How many are still with you? Or like...
So when we first opened, we did the founding membership, and I think the number was 47.
Yeah,
and we've got 24 of them left.
That's quality, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because when you just thinking about in that 7 years, people moving, situations changing, jobs changing, all that, to keep almost over half.
Yeah.
That's incredible, isn't it? Yeah. So you must be doing something right.
Yeah.
So I guess then that comes on to what I'd say I notice about Project, and it's not proximity bias at all. I have been around gyms up and down the country. I've been to some good gyms. I've been to some gyms that probably need a bit of TLC. But your standards have always been like high. And do you think that has a lot to do with like, you know, those people from day one staying to the point now, and then the fact that you have got like full classes and full members and stuff like that? And also I guess how hard is it to maintain those standards when you move to bigger spaces and then you've got more people to cater for, and then like different staff and different people, like how do you like navigate that challenge to keep those standards high for your members, but also like then make sure that the people implementing them believe in them as much as you do?
Yeah, I think it comes from experience. Like obviously I started doing CrossFit in 2014, which isn't like, I mean, it wasn't early on, but I mean, it's nearly 11 years ago now. It's a long time ago. So I've been to a lot of gyms, and I went to a lot of gyms before we opened our own facility. And again, going back to the perspective thing, it gives you a perspective of perhaps what's good, what's bad, like what can I take from there that's good, what can I take from there that's not so great that I don't want to be doing. And I've always been a big believer in like trying to bridge the gap, and it is happening more now in the UK. I think like bridging the gap between what people culturally see as like a commercial gym and the niceties of it, like the changing rooms, the showers, like compared to perhaps what a CrossFit gym looked like back in 2014. Like it was a gym in a warehouse with a toilet in the corner that was probably cleaned 3 years ago. With like, you go in, sometimes there was no toilet roll in there, but I went for the training because I like training. Whereas I think now we're at a point where all those people that like training have found CrossFit. Not like training, but all those people that want a CrossFit have found it. We're now at that point where we're trying to entice other people away from like, not the niceties of commercial gyms, but we're trying to entice people into CrossFit gyms and get them to change their mindset. So bridging the gap for me has always been really important between like, I never wanted to have a gym that was a shithole. Like I wanted it to be, the training to be good, and I wanted the facility to be good as well. And I'm a big believer in like, how you do everything is how you do anything. Like, so the smallest little details, like they're never disregarded, and that's important for me. Like I want from like where the equipment's put back, like is the logo facing forward? Like it's dead. I mean, it's so picky, it's unbelievable.
I don't think it is though, because like I've been like that before. You've said to me at an event before when you've just been around the store, and I've just turned a shirt a little bit because anger weren't quite. And you were like, you noticed that because you notice it, and I'm the same at the gym. When I see someone put a skipping rope back not quite right, I think, oh fuck, you know,
it's not going to be happy with that.
But also it instills in your members. I've seen no end of times. I've done it myself, and I've seen other members do it when people haven't put plates back. They're stacking them straight because they take pride in it because you do. It's like sort of self-replicating. Then,
and then I think it snowballs. Then it just snowballs into everything you do. If you get them really small things right, that some people see as like pernickety and stuff. And I mean, my pet peeve is the wall ball. It infuriates me. And I know obviously people don't know what day it is today, but today at the project we're doing the workout as wall balls in it. And I know full well that I'm perhaps going to go in tomorrow morning. There'll be a few wall balls where the logo is facing forward, and I won't be able to do anything else before I've straightened those wall balls up. And I mean, that's just me. Everything I do, that's my nature. So it kind of bleeds into the environment at the gym, I guess.
I guess that's an element you can control, because I guess at home with two very young girls. Nothing's that's not quite so easy.
Nothing straight at home and facing forward. No.
And speaking of that, then, so obviously you work. Well, Fletch, Mrs. co-owner. What's it like going on that journey in such close proximities? Because obviously you're building that together. Then you're at home in there. Is it challenging?
Yeah, I mean, it's a challenge in itself. Like, we're super lucky. We've got a great group of staff down at the project, so our actual time spent down at the gym together simultaneously, like, isn't that often. We don't now. We used to. We obviously before the girls and stuff. Like when it was just me and Charlotte. Like we used to spend a lot of time, like mornings, evenings, like the nature of the beast, like until we got comfortable with like one of us being there in the morning, one of us being there in the evening. And now it's just very different because we've got a great team of staff. So like now we don't actually spend that much time down at the gym together, if that makes sense, because it is a little bit more like, right, I'm at work this morning, Charlotte's not. She might not be at work that day because she's with the girls, and then she's at work perhaps the following day, and I'm not. So in that sense, it's become a little bit easier. But there's always, I mean, it's like anything. There's always different opinions, and we're very different people. Like, so there's always going to be a little bit of that. And I guess it's just navigating it, isn't it? The best you can, I suppose. You navigate it best you can. And again, going back to the perspective thing, it's me sometimes trying to see things from Charlotte's perspective and her trying to see things from my perspective.
But that's I guess that's any relationship that you have with anyone, isn't it?
Yeah.
That if you want a relationship to work, whether it's a marriage, a working relationship, a friendship, a relationship with your family, you have to.
Yeah, there's got to be there's got to be give and take. Yeah. And it's important, like you said, because obviously we live together, we work together.
Yeah.
Like that's even more so important.
So one thing I wanted to ask you about is your personal social media. I don't like
that you're smiling.
It just makes me laugh because personal social media, it's not so much personal. You like document your training and project related stuff. But like obviously for a period you were like, you do your project Instagram and then your own one, you were like, I don't do stuff for show, I do it because I want to do it.
Yeah.
And then obviously recently, but I always used to say to you, you need to put more stuff on because people want to see you doing stuff. You've got like, what made that change for you to make this big comeback to Instagram?
I won't call it big. I won't call it a big comeback.
It doesn't make me laugh. Every time I see your camera set up, part of me inside is just so joyful that you're doing.
And I'm cringing though. That's the thing. I'm cringing.
But you're doing it.
Yeah. I mean, I used to be, like you say, I used to be relatively active. I mean, I'm trying to think when I kind of stopped. It's probably like pre-COVID, I think. Really.
I remember someone said to me, Elliot's unfollowed me. He's blocked me. I'm like, don't worry, he's just shut his Instagram down. They were like worried that you'd fallen out with him. No. So you know what people are like. If you don't follow me on Instagram, we must have fell out.
So it was one of them. Like, my focus just shifted a little bit, and I tried to plow everything into the project. So, I mean, I haven't got loads of followers, and neither is the project. So I'm not necessarily. But my time was just spent better elsewhere. Like I manage the project's social media, and then I want to spend my time at the gym with the members that are coming there.
Yeah.
Like my desire to like put things out for people to like doom scroll through. I was just like, I'm just not bothered anymore.
Yeah.
And then I don't know, like it was probably September, October last year.
Yeah,
I mean, it's been a slow drip feed. I mean, my goal was, because now obviously we've got the projects in Instagram, social media, stuff like that. There's a nice plan in there with that, so it's become a lot easier to manage. And it feels like it's got a nice flow to it. So I'm not spending as much time doing that. So it opened up like a window of opportunity to go, right, I can now start posting a little bit more. And the main driver was like going back to, I mean, there's so much information out there nowadays, and it's like, I don't know, nice dress, no knickers. I find with a lot of people, like they put all this really fancy stuff out on Instagram, like, and all this fitness stuff, and people love it, like. But then you actually get down to the nitty gritty, and most of it is just bullshit. It's just for show.
Yeah.
Like, and I've never ever been about that. No. I mean, the original like project catchline or whatever you want to call it was no words, just actions. Yeah. And I'm all about that. Like, I don't need to be telling people like what I'm doing. Like, I'm all about just doing it. Yeah. And then people like, I hope that's what I'm doing down at the project. I'm just doing it. I'm taking part in classes every day, and people are just following that and seeing that as an example. I don't need to be telling people. But now I've kind of stood up and gone, actually, perhaps I do need to be telling people, because they don't necessarily believe that that's all I'm doing, if that makes sense. Like, he's not just doing the class a day. I am just doing the class.
That's what I love about, I remember you saying that to me one time, like that you'll do the class every single day and you'll put your scoring box, mate, and everyone will see you doing it. And it's called that because some people, like, I'm not calling them out because everyone's got their own way of doing stuff, but they'll like be following a different training program
Yeah.
to the class programming, and it's like, how are your members going to believe in what you're doing as a gym owner if you don't even do your own programming? It's like it's yeah. So I like that every single day you do that. It's leading from front, innit? It's just
yeah, and that's kind of, I've never been one to like shout from the rooftops about what I'm doing. I've just preferred to do it, and if people want to follow and jump on the bandwagon or whatever you want to call it, then the more the merrier, kind of thing.
And that's why you always can have a go at me for being biggest cherry picker at gym.
Yeah.
Getting a bit better now, though.
Yeah. You're just booking on, booking on and getting stuck in. But yeah, I mean, that is for me anyway. Like, to do the program that you're delivering at the gym for me is like a non-negotiable. You should be doing it. And if you're not, I mean, what are you doing that's so special? That's what I'd ask.
Yeah, if you want to do something else as well, do that as well, but always do what you're prescribing.
I'm not saying I don't do it. I probably do a bit of extra, maybe a couple of times a week. Like, but other than that, like the base thing that I'm doing is the class CrossFit program at the project, and I'm doing the warm up that everyone else does. I'm doing the strength that everyone else does. I'm doing the workout. I'm putting my workout score in for everyone else to see. Like, and I don't know. That to me is important, and that's where you get buy-in from from members, from other people, and they go, well, if he's doing it, then I'm doing it. If you're in the corner doing your own, like, I don't know, fancy thing, looking for the magic potion, to me, actually, like, CrossFit, the training methodology, like, I don't believe you're doing CrossFit, the training methodology, because CrossFit, the training methodology is group training.
Yeah.
It's training in an atmosphere with group people.
Yeah,
you're training CrossFit, but you're not doing CrossFit. You're missing such a large portion of that. Like, training in a group, everyone doing the same workout, suffering that adversity together. It's such a huge part of what we do.
Yeah, and you look at the sort of people from projects, this is the example I know of, because obviously that's where I am. But you see people that have become best friends from walks of life where they would never have even met, let alone become such good friends, and they'll sit for an hour after a classic coffee shop, having a chat, and it's nice, isn't it? You must it must make you feel quite
and it's that shared adversity that brings people together.
Yeah, you were all going through this together.
Yeah, there's that mutual respect that I'm willing to go where you are. Like,
I love that. Right, so we've done the gym to a point, but I just wanted to sort of ask one last question on the gym. Like, are the plans for the future? Is the project where you want it to be, or is the plans for more, or like, how do you see it looking long term?
I mean, that's a big question. I mean, we never stand still, which is important. Like, we're always trying to get better. Obviously, we've just done kind of the end of year survey. We did it in December. We're kind of piecing together what that looks like as in a response to what the members have put, because we try and cater for as much as we can within reason. I mean, you can't please everyone, you never will, but we can try our best. So there's a few new things coming this year. Like, there's going to be a weightlifting class coming that loads of people have asked for, like a specific weightlifting class. There's a yoga class coming as well that people have asked for. The high rocks thing that is kind of taking off. We've had people. We do a couple of classes a week, but not many. Some people are asking about more of those. Is there an opportunity to like practice a full high rocks before a high rocks event? So they're kind of things that we're trying to plan into the events calendar. So it's all. I mean, it's always evolving. But in terms of like the space that we're in, where we are, I mean, we have a great space. We've got parking. Loads of parking, we're out of the way, we're not disturbing anyone. The space itself, it works perfectly for us in our class size. We've got a nice social space, changing room, showers. That's probably one thing that we're going to try and look to revamp. That's probably top of the list, like to try and upgrade, refurbish the showers, toilet facilities at the gym. That's kind of a big one for this year. But yeah, I don't think we'd ever move through choice. I don't think, just because where we are is so perfect, unless we have to, of course. To have multiple or another gym. I mean, it's something that always crosses your mind, and I'm always striking a balance between, do I want another gym because of my ego, or do I want another gym because I want another gym? And I'm always kind of having that argument. And I would like to have another gym at some point, because I think what we do at the project, if we can bring that to more people, obviously and we can spread the message, the more we can do that, the better, kind of thing. But where we are in like mine and Charlotte's personal situation now, with obviously 2 young children, it just doesn't line up as the right time, if that makes sense. Because we're in a position now, like we weren't when we first opened. Obviously, we were there every morning, every evening. We're in a position now where we're there probably 2-3 mornings a week and 2-3 evenings a week, but actually, like 3 days a week, I get to go and put the girls to bed. And it's kind of,
you open a new spot, you've got to be there 24/7 to cultivate those standards and that community that you've done so well with. So everything changes, and it's back to
the balance we've managed to create now. It'd be skewed again, which I don't mind doing, but just not in the situation we're in now. And when the girls are so young, and I'm in a position where I can go home at night and I can do that, and like 2 mornings a week I get to get up and get them out of the bed, take them to nursery, and I mean, it's though. And
but you don't get that time back, do you?
No. And they're things that are like really important to me. Like every Thursday, I take them swimming on a Thursday morning. Like as much as I moan about it, because the pool is freezing, but like they're things that if we were to open another facility, I perhaps wouldn't have the privilege of doing that kind of thing. So I'm always really mindful.
You've got to develop them swimming skills for them, because you were pretty quick, weren't you? So you've got to get that in them.
We've got to have a race.
Yeah, I remember the first time I went swimming. Remember, I turned up my flippers.
With your flippers.
What were you fucking doing? I thought you were fast. I had to keep up. So like, one thing before we close out, I guess, would be like just to let people know that are watching, because obviously not everybody is going to be within close proximity to project, but there are plenty of comps, 4 comps a year, usually, well, maybe three comps a year.
3 comps a year,
So you can get down, check the socials out for them. But also, how do people sign up to your mailing list? Because project, like Chalk Talk, you send them tips. It can be anything from nutrition to motivation to workouts. Really useful, and I enjoy reading them. So I just like, how do people sign up if they want to just get them, and if they like what you're saying, maybe see it firsthand on a mailing list as opposed to being able to get down?
So first thing, obviously, follow us on Instagram, and then on the Instagram, on the link tree, there's a subscription thing in there where you can subscribe to the newsletter, and we put a bi-weekly newsletter out, usually in a series of like 4 to 5 emails touching on a specific topic around fitness, kind of thing. I mean, there's no rocket science in there. There's no magic pill in there, but it's just stuff that perhaps we want to push out there, and as what we believe at the project, people should be making important, if that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's where to find us, and subscribe to the newsletter.
So my sister suggested we do this thing now, right? So when I have guests on, we've got to ask you to ask a question that the next guest I will ask to. Apparently Stephen Bartlett does it, and he's got millions and millions of subscribers. So as we approach 100, that's going to be the thing that turns the dial. So you ask a question now that I write down and remember, and then the next guest I have on, I ask that question. So it can be anything, really.
Right.
I can't put you on the spot too much here.
No, I mean, you did pre-warn me about this.
I was trying to make that seamless. You ruined it.
And I haven't thought about it, actually. But I've got one, I think. For me, just from, I mean, what we've talked about there, about like what grinds your gears, and the wall balls being the wrong way around grinds my gears. What's your pet peeve in the gym? Like, what do you walk in and like really gets you going? Like winds you up. You can't do anything else before like rectifying it.
Sorted. Right. Cheers, bro.